Hi everyone, we're live. Welcome to That's Normal's Outlander. We are joined today by my Outlander Purgatory and Andy from, tell us where you're writing right now, Andy?
TV After Dark.
TV After Dark. Sorry, I had a momental brain fart there. Anyway, let's have a little chat. Let's go around and introduce ourselves. I'll start. I'm Nikki, and I write and own That's Normal with Becca, and I'm drinking a made-up sangria because I figured out I didn't have anything to mix with the other alcohol that I had already poured. So let's throw it to Andy. Introduce yourself.
I'm Andy, and I'm from TV After Dark. I review Outlander for them, and apparently Power now. And I'm drinking this Bluefish Sweet Riesling, and it has a screw top because I'm classy.
Carol, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Carol from My Outlander Purgatory, and I'm drinking pretty much the cheesiest, cheapest pre-made margarita ever made, and it's awesome.
No wine tonight?
No wine. I had to lay off the wine tonight.
Okay, Tracy.
I'm Tracy from My Outlander Purgatory, sister of Carol, and I'm drinking a mojito. Since it's 4th of July weekend, it's nice and summery, and it's a chocolate mojito with chocolate mint from my garden, because I'm so Claire.
Is that going to help your digestion as well? Tiffany, say hello.
Hey, I'm Tiffany. I write for That's Normal. I also do the Snaplander for That's Normal. And tonight I'm drinking this weird thing. Have you guys ever had this before? It's like a pineapple antioxidant infusion. It's weird. It was on sale.
Are they
So
good? I've seen it at Target.
Yeah, they're good. I think this one's not the best one. The cherry one's better. But yeah, they were on sale, so I was like, why not?
Sounds good. Beth?
Hey everybody, I'm Beth, and this is Blurt.
Hello.
He's
Hi,
got a
Blurt.
haircut tonight.
Hey.
He looks so handsome. And I'm having some whiskey that Brian just brought me. We'll see how ridiculously toasted I get in a few minutes. So.
Nice. Becca, why don't you tell us why you just joined us, our super secret surprise guest?
I'm a surprise. I'm one of the owners of That's Normal, and surprising the road on the trek home from JFK back to Philadelphia. I've been in Costa Rica, so that's why I haven't been here for a little bit with my family. My dad, Jimmy, right here in the front seat. I'm used to speaking English. Literally, I keep speaking Spanish at the airport. And yes, I'm not caught Alan, so I'm not going to be this second. I wanted to pop in and say hi, and I miss you all. And I'm looking forward to simulating.
Okay, I don't know if it was just me, but you sounded a tiny bit like a robot. So
I didn't do any of that.
okay. That was pretty awesome. But we love you. Thank you for joining us.
Sad. Okay, bye.
And she's gone. Oh, that's sad. Okay, we have to start by talking about the big, super big news. Entertainment Weekly debuted pictures of Roger and Bree. Aren't these the first pictures we've seen in costume?
I think so.
I think the first formal ones, yeah.
Initial thoughts? What do you guys think? That good, Tracy? That good?
I could do without the beard. I could do without the beard on Roger. That's my thoughts. I mean, I wasn't like offended or anything. You know, they seem perfectly like a perfectly lovely couple, but the beard surprised me. The Roger in my head never had a beard. But then again, you know, I never saw Dougal as bald either, and I wouldn't have it any other person now. So
I agree 100%. I think that he's cute, I'm sure he's a good actor. There's lots of people championing him, but that beard looks like it has taken over his face, and he is ill with it. Like it's attacking him. I don't get it. It's like so bad. It's so badly styled. It's disappointing.
I like it. I love a good beard. I'm
It's
sorry.
not a good beard. It's a bad beard.
I like it.
Okay, I like scruff and I like beards, but I think it's something about the way he's styled with the beard and the haircut, and it's just something, and he just doesn't seem like, it's not the Roger I pictured in my head. I will withhold judgment until I see him act, but he just reminds me of this like creepy guy I know who's like a gamer. That's why
Like
I'm just
video
like,
games or
yeah.
playing games?
Like he plays video games and like he works at the library with me, and it's just like he looks too much like like him styled that way. And like Roger and Brianna are my favorite parts of Outlander, even more so than Jamie and Claire. Yeah.
That's a first.
Yeah, I don't know, I just like them a lot. And so I was really disappointed because in my mind Roger is like way hotter than Jamie, and no.
You mean the turtleneck / beard combo and tweed long overcoat didn't turn you on?
No, not at all. Maybe once he gets into like the Scottish, like kind of looking like the olden time days, it will be hotter. But just maybe that period is not really what I like. So we'll see. I'm withholding judgment. I have an open mind and an open heart.
I guess when I think of the 60s, when I think they're supposed to be in, like I think of like clean cut, tight suit, fitted, like very Mad Men. I know that's a little stylized, but I don't know. I wasn't thinking beard. I was definitely into Brie though. I love her hair.
Looks pretty.
No.
Yes?
As a redhead, I'm offended. I'm offended by that fake dyed hair.
Hey, I have faux red hair.
Are you saying that it's not like orange enough, like it's too
Correct.
auburny?
Yeah, it's like, oh, look what I've done with this, like brown red hair doesn't, like real red hair doesn't look like that. It just looks more brassy and like orange, and I don't know. I didn't mind that it wasn't curly. Some people were like, oh, it's supposed to be curly. I'm like, no. But I don't think brown hair ever looks real when it's dyed. I mean, maybe if they stripped it first, but that's ridiculous. So why would they do that to that poor girl's head? But I don't know. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure she's lovely. She's probably a wonderful actress. But I'm just saying, as a real ginger, I just thought it looked really, really fake. I was like, great. Nice dye job.
I agree that it's definitely dyed red hair. It doesn't have the look of like a real redhead. But I thought it was strange that, and this is a cute little tidbit, that they reshot all of their scenes because her hair was wrong. And her hair was too curly. So they were like, oh no, 60s style, it should be a lot straighter. And so we had to reshoot all of the Roger and Bree stuff. And then I keep looking at Roger and going, but nobody thought he needed to shave?
Two of my favorite things in the world are 60s styling and red hair. So everything she's doing in those pictures is like hands up emoji for me. I love everything. Maybe it could have been a little redder. I don't know. But I just love the skirt, the jacket, all of it. Positivity.
I think they're probably trying to like match more of Jamie's fake red hair, you know, because that's what she inherited from him. So they weren't really trying to make her look super ginger, but more like Jamie. And his isn't like super, I mean, his hair changes so much episode to episode. But I don't know, I'm not offended by it. I kind of think, I thought she looked beautiful.
Did you guys think that she looked like Daphne from Scooby-Doo in that jumper?
A little bit.
That's actually kind of a good, look. I wonder if Terry had like a little picture of Daphne like on the, dream wall or whatever.
It makes sense. I mean, they're looking after clues. They just need a huge Marmaduke dog. It was the old man in the castle. Okay. Everyone loved it or hated it. Speaking of love and hate, we've been having some comments on our YouTube about us being really negative about the show. So I wanted to open it up to us, for us to talk about why sometimes we err more on the side of negative than positive when we're talking about the show. And is it a service? Is it not? What do you guys think?
Well, I responded to one of the people, well, both of the people that said that on our, or two of the people that had said that on our YouTube channel, because I actually went through that entire talk this past week and wrote down everything I personally said that was positive. And there was like 25 things that I said, that just statements that I said that were positive about an actor or a plot point or whatever. And I thought, that's not 100% negative. What we're negative about is like the same thing we've been negative about long, which is like general scope or, you know, just certain things like that. Also somebody, we did a throwback post today to my very first post about Outlander on the site, which was 4 years ago, or however long it was. And I was negative in that post. I was like, who's Ron D. Moore? Has anybody ever heard of this Yahoo? Stars? They're not fucking HBO. Like, why are we excited about this? So, it's par for the course. It's not like we're all of a sudden changing who we are, I guess.
Also, I think that the people who love the show, they want to tune into something like this, and they only want to hear positive things. But we are coming from our perspective is we're not going to mess up. We're not going to just say we love something because, yeah, we love Outlander, but we're still going to be truthful, and we're going to give it to you straight, talk to you straight about the things that sucked. And in every show that I love, there's episodes that I think suck or elements of the show that suck. So I think that it would be stupid just to talk about all the wonderful things. What are we going to say over and over again, like an hour long of us saying, this was so great, what a great episode? You know, like we have to find something to make it interesting, spice it up a little bit.
I think.
What were you going to say?
Go ahead. I think Beth's point is really well taken. That's kind of, that's what you do. We sort of do the same thing. First of all, I think that, we try to be funny. Like that's kind of our modus operandi, and it's a little harder to just be funny. We're always trying to be respectful, but there are things that we tease because we love. But, because we also don't really agree with how something has been treated or how something has been written or portrayed or whatever. That doesn't mean that that we're not fans of the show or we don't like the show as a whole, but, we're being honest. And quite frankly, yeah, nobody really sits around and talks about good things all the time. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it's not a good thing. So I just don't think it's being realistic to expect like an hour-long podcast or whatever to be like, this was so great and that was so great and this was so great. I'd be bored after 5 minutes.
At least not and be entertaining. And there are podcasts I think out there that do that like take it super seriously, and not necessarily just podcasts, but everything is, explored to this, they're trying really hard to pull in, something smart. And for us, that's just not the point of what we're doing. We are trying to entertain you. If you guys are sitting down and watching this for an hour, interacting with us on Twitter, we want you to have a good time, and you have more fun when we're drunk and ridiculous. And Tracy's totally right. They're just saying that you're critiquing things is not negativity. And if all that you hear from us is negativity, then this is just not the format for you, because that's not all that we say. We love the show. In fact, reading that old post about Outlander, I was gushing so much about how I love Outlander, and it makes me wish that I still felt that way all the time. Prior to the show, I was just so gung-ho, and I would love to have that back. But I'm constantly dealing with fandom people who are telling me I'm too negative, so it makes me more negative, I think.
And I definitely think that we've had Hang Outlanders, we've done this for 2 seasons now, and I definitely think that if you watch all of them, there's some episodes of Hang Outlander, Hate Outlander.
Hashtag Hate Outlander.
I think there's episodes where we gush a lot more about how fantastic the episode was, and then there's some that we didn't like as much. So it's unfair to say that we're always negative, because I definitely have been on Outlander before, and where we've had mostly all good things to say. So
I agree.
Yeah, I think that I was just going to say, I think the thing is that to be a true fan, you have to know the stuff that you really expect to see and the stuff that you want to see, and you're vocal about it. That's part of being a fan and part of being in a fandom. Also, for people like us, it's more about critiquing things. We're writing about something from a critic's standpoint. I don't want to, gloss us and say we're amazing critics or whatever. But, we kind of are. We like the books. We watch the show. We're invested in these people and their real lives, to a non-creepy point. But I think what we have to say is valuable, and I think to another fan it should be valuable as well. So,
and we put a lot of effort into this. Like, everyone who is speaking right now puts a lot of effort into the show, promoting it, talking about it. So it's unfair to say that we don't like Outlander, because obviously we invest our lives into this, portion of our lives into it.
Yeah.
If we didn't like Outlander, trust me, we would not have spreadsheets about the coverage and group chats. We would not be having our friends on here to talk together. That there's too much time involved to hate something and do this much with it.
Right. We had some great Twitter comments. Molly, she's at Redhead Reader. She said, well, actually, I think all of your criticisms are legit. You don't blow smoke up RDM or any of their kilt, or I guess that kiss their ass. She put the key face and the peach emoji, so I'm going to say that's kissing ass, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we don't blow smoke or kiss their ass. And then Courtney said that Ron and Tina are good enough at stroking their own ego. Why should we add to it?
We love them.
Yeah.
I like this because I love the show. That's why I make fun of it. Because I don't know, like all the things I love, I'm like, oh my god, and did you see that? It was ridiculous, but that just means I like it. So
you kid because you love.
Correct.
Yeah, and when I don't love, like I just want it to be better. Although, I mean, like, I think that everybody that has criticisms, no matter what they are, they just want the show to be really, really good, or at least how they envision it to be, and that's okay. You don't have to agree.
You definitely don't. Okay, now let's continue on the negativity train and talk about who has the worst wig. After watching this week's, and we got to see, what's his name? I just forgot. Is it Andrew? It's not Andrew. It's
Alex.
Alex. Jeez, I can't get them all straight. We got to see Alex's wig, which was probably one or two on top worst wigs on this show. I knew we had to talk about it. So let's go around very quickly. Top 2 worst wigs on the entire show. Go, Andy.
Well, that Alex wig, I'll forgive that one because he had the consumption. And, I mean, I guess everyone knows that consumption makes your hair real bad. No, that was a really bad wig. And I don't know, like, every time I see, Column's hair this week, Gary's wig, but it was supposed to look bad, so I don't know what you want me to say about the wig. I'm still stuck on Bree's bad dye job.
Mary had some really big hair this week. I did notice that. Like, Mary's hair was probably about that high, and I'm guessing that's a wig, but
it's
I don't
not.
know.
She just has a gigantic head.
Well, that's you. I got to give Colin and Alex a pass. When I'm on my deathbed, like, I don't even want to know what I'm going to look like. So, so they get a pass. But, yeah, Mary had some big hair.
Yeah. I got to say Alex's was terrible, and it's been terrible in every other episode. So I don't know. It's just, like, literally 2 tracks they sewed into his head, and it just, like, waterfalls to the side. And then my other least favorite, I'm sorry, Tobias, but the Blackjack Randall wig is like half the time you see it lifting when he's fighting. Like, he might as well have like hair coming out the back. He's just so lovely and so beautiful to look at. I don't want to look at that ugly wig ever again.
I'm going to go with the Minister of Finance. I mean, are we going all the way that way back?
Whatever you want.
Whatever he was wearing that got like drowned in the river. That was the worst wig.
Yeah.
Although it was meant to be a wig, so that's okay. I guess it doesn't really count. Alex's was pretty bad. I want to think that Lord John's was weird. Like the little Lord John.
I don't remember him.
Did he have a wig on?
Yeah, it was bad. I remember it.
I seem to remember thinking his didn't look very good.
Is everybody forgetting about Lord Lovett's son?
Yes!
AKA the Garth wig?
I was to say that.
I was sitting here like hoping nobody would say it.
We left it for you, Carol. We left it for you.
Darth. They used that one for Alex too, I think, maybe.
It's like the same one but no bang.
Ian's was particularly heinous as well when they showed him in season 2. I didn't remember it being so bad the first time around, but this season it was really bad. Like to the point, him and Colin, I could see like the tape on their forehead. Like you could see it like clearly. So I'd say those two were the worst for me. And of course Alex was terrible as well, just all stringy and gross.
Oh, poor Wigs. I mean, we love you, Outlander, but come on now. Let's get started talking about this week's episode, 212, the Hail Mary. For those who don't know football terms, that's like a last-ditch effort on the field. So thanks for that, Outlander writing team. Any first thoughts, or should we just jump into what the hell was this episode about?
My thought is pretty simple, and somebody asked us, I think it was Laura on Twitter, asked, how did we think about this episode as an episode by itself versus it being the penultimate episode, which I thought was a great question and a good way to kind of start out that conversation, because an episode by itself, like just as an episode of the show, it wasn't particularly bad. It had some bad aspects to it, but it wasn't a bad show. But as the penultimate episode, the one leading up to the finale that should be a big deal, it was really stale.
I agree. That question was probably one of my favorites because it brings to light, again, a lot of the things that we've been talking about storytelling-wise. The penultimate episode is supposed to be this huge crescendo into the finale. Like, there's supposed to be really high stakes. There's supposed to be a lot of things either leading to a payoff or paying off. And then we get to this episode, and it's like, two guys are dying. Like, they're sort of important. And then, you know, Claire does some magic with a pipe. And it just wasn't, think about really great penultimate episodes. This just wasn't it for me, unfortunately. There were some lovely moments, but not worthy of the second to last of a season.
I think I said when we, in our like group text, I said, this episode would be a good episode if we had 3 more episodes left. And that's kind of how I felt about it. It was like, it was okay. I wasn't bored. I liked the episode. But, I mean, again, I'll compare it like to the penultimate episode of Game of Thrones where everyone was freaking out because it was amazing. People who didn't even watch that show were, hearing about it. So it was a little bit stale. I kind of felt like maybe it was that way just because we are going to get an extended episode for the last one. So maybe that's going to be kind of the two merged together, the finale and the penultimate. So we'll see.
I don't know that it stands up. I mean, I actually just watched it before we did this, before we started, because I hadn't seen it on Saturday, and I hadn't really watched it since earlier in the week, last week. And yeah, this was the third viewing, I guess. And the first one was great. The second one was good. It doesn't really stand up as much as some of the previous ones, certainly in the season and over the course of the whole series have. I mean, I think that's a lot of pressure when you talk about a penultimate episode. Like, isn't that really a Game of Thrones thing? Talking about Game of Thrones, like, didn't they really start that whole idea of like, the second to last episode is the big one. You've got the red wedding, and you've got like the Blackwater battle, and this and that and whatever. So I guess there's maybe a lot of pressure that's kind of created, but yeah, this episode was kind of quiet in a way. I mean, I do think it's laying the groundwork for Culloden, like in terms of the ominousness of some of it. But no, overall, I can see where it's kind of a little anticlimactic.
It was one of the first episodes where I actually got bored, and I didn't watch it until Saturday night, and I live tweeted it, and I have no idea what happened anytime Colin was on screen because I wasn't paying attention. Like, I just was bored, and I don't normally get like super bored, but we had two very slow, very drawn out deathbed deaths in a row. I mean, it's weird storytelling. Like, when they were storyboarding it, they were like, let's have a really long death scene for Colin where Dougal's just chatting. And then let's let Alex die and nothing will happen. There should be people standing there. And then all of a sudden, Jack will punch him. Like, right on top of each other. It just was a lot of, like, staleness.
It was like dueling deathbeds. Like, who can die the worst? Who could have the most drama or least drama happen at their deathbed? What is this episode?
Yeah.
I will be positive right now. I'll be the positive person. I actually really liked Dougal's scene when he's talking to Colin. I thought that it was brilliantly acted. I thought it was. I got emotional. I was invested in the scene. I definitely was invested in the scene. The one with Claire and Colin, that one made me a little bit bored. But Dougal and Colin, I really I was feeling the emotions, and I was like, I should call my brother right now, you know. But and then I thought that the next scene with Alex and Black Jack, not Jack Black. I've made that mistake before. Yeah, I thought that scene, I felt like it resolved like the character of Blackjack, because I thought he was kind of too nice through the whole thing, but once he starts wailing on his brother, I was like, okay, yeah, that makes more sense, you know, like his character is really showing through. So that wasn't in the books, I don't think, and right? Yeah, and I thought it was a brilliant add-on. I was like, whoa, this is crazy. So I kind of liked the episode. I was entertained. I wasn't bored. So I'll be the positive person.
I liked the episode more the second time I watched it, actually, because at first I was like, what is this? Like, it was just a lot of really quiet, and I was like, wow, this is happening right now. I think if, like what someone else said, if it hadn't been the penultimate episode, I would have liked it even more. But I loved, it was like, let's just kill off all our supporting characters and like, no big deal. We'll just kill them all. It'll be totally fine. And then, I mean, I really like the performances. I think that's the only thing that really saved it for me. Like, because the more I watched it, the more I was like, oh, actually, like, this is really cool. The brothers parallel between like the brothers Mackenzie and how that death went, and then it went to the other death scene, and it was like, oh, those two brothers and how that death went, like Dougal's reaction and how it was totally different from Jack's reaction. I thought that was kind of neat. And like anyway, I liked it. I liked it more the second time I watched it. The first time I watched it, I really was kind of bored.
Do you think that maybe it had something to do with editing and something to do with planning, and they sort of sacrificed a great second to last episode for isn't the finale like 90 minutes or something?
Mm-hmm.
So do you think that maybe they kind of struggled with that and said, all right, you know what, we'd rather go for the long last episode rather than do that? I don't know. Because I agree with all of you guys, and I just am wondering why they're doing it the way they're doing it. So that I'm wondering if that has anything to do with it.
I think the last episode is going to be more about almost two different episodes. That's the sense I'm getting, because you're going to get a lot of 1968 with Bree and Roger,
right? And
you're going to get a lot of 1746 with
which would have almost made this you know, the third to last episode. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just
Right,
wondering
right.
if that had anything to do with it, and
Yeah.
and you know how much the planning and the timing and the holiday, and you know, I don't know. I just it's interesting to me. But maybe at some point we'll find out.
Yeah. Well, I think that makes a lot of sense, but I think also in a traditional finale, you know, you have to tie up a lot of loose ends and you've got to prepare for that next season. So we haven't even gotten to that part. We're not tying anything up yet. We're not even, you know, ready for the next season. We still have to have a battle that sounds like it's not happening. And then we have to bring in these new characters and get ready for the next year. We should have been doing that right now. Like, there were some lovely moments in this episode, but I don't know what the planning was there.
We have Anna Serene on Twitter said that this episode felt like filler, which I think we're all kind of agreeing with in some ways. I mean, there were good performances. But then she said, Ron, be honest, do you only need like 6 episodes? And I got to say, I think they really only need 10. I remember being so excited they were getting 16 for the first season and found out that it's just too much. It's too much.
I think it's unnecessary, too. I think if they were given 10, they would have to make better choices. I think they would have to cut out a lot of fluff and tell a better story and do it in a more succinct way instead of episodes of filler and episodes of, you know, who cares what their costume looks like. Like, tell a really good story in a succinct way.
And I think that we've talked a lot about, you know, they're filming for the readership and not necessarily for people who just want to watch the TV show without reading the books. And that's kind of frustrating sometimes when you're like, okay, not everyone needs to know about these things. You know, like when I was reading the books, I was skipping over this part. I don't need to see it on TV, you know? So...
Yeah, I mean, we've said a million times there's so much that is in this show that really it's nice to see sometimes, but we don't need it. And some of it's not nice to see, and we really could do without it. And I wish they were just telling a story. My biggest issue with this season, honestly, is the opener, which I loved the first half of the first episode. But I didn't anticipate that throughout the whole season it would take all of the stakes away, and it did. We know Culloden happens. There are no stakes. They've been this whole time trying to keep Culloden from happening. Even in these last episode, this one from this Saturday, the one before, Jamie and Claire and Myrta are still trying to keep Culloden from happening, but we know it happens. So there is no inherent tension in the entire season because they gave it away in the first 2 minutes. And as readers, we know it happens anyway, that there's other stuff coming, but they're not focusing on that as the narrative arc, and so it just makes everything fall so flat that you're not invested in Jamie's plight to get them to go to London because you know it's going to fail. It's terrible.
Yeah.
There's no stake.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the things I wrote down while I was watching it. I was like, why is he still doing this? Why is he still going forward? I get that the episode is the Hail Mary, and that was so overly obvious that they're trying anything they can to change history or to reroute themselves another way. Why is he still doing this? Maybe you guys can tell me, Claire only knew the date and the outcome of Culloden. Why is Jamie suggesting the exact thing that ends up getting them slaughtered? Like, I went and read Wikipedia like a few weeks back when I just wanted to learn more about what happened in the battle, and literally what he suggests is the exact reason why they're just completely annihilated. And I was watching it going, what are you doing? Is he the reason this all happened? Like, I just didn't get it. The fake reason.
Do you know what was so funny? I felt like the one thing that could have proven that they changed history was the one thing that Claire was like so insistent happened. Like, they're like, oh, can we change the future? I don't know. Well, Claire, Jack does not want to marry Mary, like, at all. So just say, okay. And then you could prove that you changed history. For crying out loud. I was so angry.
But she has to protect Precious Frank.
That's the other thing I was watching going, is she a villain now? Like, she's pushing Mary towards this marriage with a sadist, terrible human being. Is she a villain because she did that? Because she doesn't know, now that she's told Frank, because she can't keep her mouth shut, that or Blackjack rather, when he's going to die, she doesn't know that he's really going to die, and thus she's not going to be with this terrible person for the rest of her life. There was a lot of questions I had watching it.
Yeah, that's one of the things, even reading the books, I was like, this is not consistent with who Claire is as a healer, as a person who, I always found that whole exchange very odd. You know, even her going to help his brother. I always thought, like, this is so unrealistic to who I believe Claire is fundamentally. So, yeah,
I think
agree.
that's the point, though. I think the point is that she's human. And she's making choices, and God, I sound like Diana. I'm so sorry. But I think that the point is that she's bad and good, and she does things for selfish reasons, and she does things for selfless reasons, and that's how people are. And so to say, like, I mean, stereotypically, you need your characters on a television show specifically to be more cut and dried, white and black. You don't want her to be an anti-hero. You know, you don't want her to go crazy. But at the same time, she can have bad motivations for certain things that she does, and it still be that she's the hero of the story.
I like when the lines blur. I think it was just a little bit like, this is a rapist. Like, you're really gonna do that? It seemed a little fishy.
Yeah, I hate it. Like, I hate that she does that. I'm just saying, I don't think that it necessarily changes her character. It's just... It's like her big flaw, like the big thing that she's got going on is her dedication to Frank's progeny.
Maybe she thought he had no penis, so it was fine. She's like, he has no penis. He can't hurt her. It's okay.
We had a really good conversation with Mandy and Michelle, and Mandy said that she thinks if they get less episodes, there will be even more bitching and complaining about the story. And I said I would handle bitching and complaining in favor of a really great season of TV. But Michelle said that she agrees with Mandy. She thinks that they would choose the wrong elements and it would be worse.
Well, they've consistently done that in a lot of ways, even with the few episodes that we've had. So, I mean, I wouldn't put it past them.
I guess that's true. I just have to hope that a professional group of TV writers is going to know when to cut fat and when to, make sure that something is included. Maybe not.
I mean, I want Jamie and Claire. That's what I want to see.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. They really have sacrificed a lot of their relationship in this season to prove the whole, the whole battle and, the whole planning of Culloden and all this politics crap. Like, yes, that's in the books, but they could have cut a lot of that away and still included the whole story. But, the most important thing about this is Claire and Jamie. And they really disconnected them. Like, forehead kisses on every episode. If I say one more forehead kiss, it's like, give me a freaking break. Like, there's no connection between the two of them, really. Like, just he'll give her a hot look once in a while, but then it's over, and you're just not seeing like the heart of the story. And I think that's why we complain a little bit more, because we really haven't seen their relationship really progress past. When the whole Faith episode, that was a powerful episode. But then after that, it's just kind of like, who cares about their marriage? And Diana even has said that this is a story about, a marriage that lasts a long time. And we're just not seeing that foundation in the season that makes Claire want to come back for him in the next season,
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And even before Faith, I mean, I think that in hindsight, the whole Jamie's PTSD storyline was probably not the smartest choice. And I think that as book readers, we kind of always had that feeling because we knew it was coming. We knew that long round, the middle of the season, they are going to have, something's going to hit them that, like, we don't know, will they get through it? So it's really important to set up that time where there's a united Jamie and Claire and you really get the depth of the relationship. And I don't think we ever had that in this season at all.
They're just like partners. Like, they're not they're not lovers, they're like partners
Yeah.
in this season.
I think I said this in our recap this past week bit, and it's a hard thing to say, but like I think that the characters of Blackjack and Claire have more chemistry between the two of them on screen right now than Jamie and Claire do, and that's really hard to say. But I would be lying if I said anything else.
I snapped early in the season, the comp, him and Claire saying more chemistry than Jamie and Claire. Murtaugh and Claire, more sexual chemistry than Jamie and Claire. Like every person she was acting with, apart from Sam, it just felt like, okay, is this gonna happen?
You know, I don't think it's a fault of the actors. I think it's just a fault of the situations that they've been placed in.
Yeah.
And it's weird because you can have comedies that are that focus around a central character. Like, I mean, obviously, like I'm going to talk about The Office and New Girl. And how many comedies have you watched where the focus really is this character and this couple, and you're sitting there, there's all these other things happening, but you get moments in every single episode that furthers their story. Mm-hmm. And Jamie and Claire are background to the rest of this narrative arc, and it's really odd that that's the case, because book readers know, yeah, they're great, their history, they're epic, they're genre bending, they're interesting, but you read it for Jamie and Claire, and you love it for Jamie and Claire, and the fact that they're relegated to like the back seat, we're just supposed to assume that everything's good with them because they get a couple of forehead kisses and he gets one little prayer over her body it's not the right way to approach this particular source material. It's not the way to market the show, and unfortunately, I don't understand how it got to that point when the showrunners, the writers are such big book fans.
It's funny because I think if they hadn't, you know how you were talking about the framing device and how it basically like ruined everything? Mm-hmm. If they hadn't framed it like that, I feel like the politics would have been a little bit more valid. But it's like scene after scene after scene of all the politics when we know the outcome is going to be horrible. It's like, why did you put that in there? We know it failed. Like, that is my biggest problem. Because we know it failed, the politics are almost practically irrelevant, and yet they've still put in scene after scene after scene of that. But the first thing you opened with is, did Culloden happen? Yeah, it did. You lose.
Yeah. It's bananas. It's like, okay, let's take the comp storyline, because there's another villain, and they offend him in the first episode, and so there for 7 episodes, you're kind of ushered into what's going to happen with this guy, right? And at the very least, in that star room or whatever, there's some bit of stakes of what's going to happen to Claire. Is the king going to kill her? Is the Conch going to live? Is Master Raymond going to live? Little bit of tension going on, and there's a little bit of tension going on with him throughout the season. Although I'll say I thought that they kind of let some of that fall flat, but at the very least, we don't know what happens to him in the first episode, and so there's some stake in whether or not he's the one who had her raped and all of his other kind of stuff. Of course, they gave us the answer to that way too far away with Sandringham, and you forget that the comp's even in this season. So it's just it's like, where are like the really interesting stakes where you talk to a friend after the show is over and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to see what they're doing next week, or what are your theories? There's no theories. They're going to lose that battle. And we're not even going to see the battle, so it doesn't even matter. It's just dumb.
It really makes me wonder what's happening in the writer's room or the editing room. Are they writing it and it's being cut for whatever reason, or are they just completely leaving it out, knowing that there's such a big readership, plus it makes a really good storyline? Or they just cut, I don't know. I just wish there was more Jamie and Claire. Wish there was something to make people interested, because there's only so much, Franco-Scottish history that you can get down with every week for an hour.
I think that this is a universal complaint. I don't think we're the only 6 people in, the viewership sitting around talking like this. And maybe one thing that will come out of it is that, I think that the writers pay attention to social media. They hear what's going on, and this is pretty universal at this point. So maybe for season 3, you know, we'll see a change because of what we've all been saying like this.
God, I hope so.
Like, we've had a lot of people ask about the sex, and I think that that's kind of where we're headed anyway, talking about Jamie and Claire connection, and the first season being touted as being this like sexual, female gaze, sexual revolution kind of show. There's very little sex in this season at all. And obviously, Jamie and Claire, I mean, when you read, I remember Ron Moore saying when, before the show ever aired, talking about one of the scenes, you know, he's talking about something Jamie and Claire did. He's like, oh, and then they have sex, and then they go here, and then Jamie and Claire have sex in the haystack, and then they go here, and Jamie and Claire have sex on the road, and you're like, yes, that's the show, that's what we do. And it's like they lost that, like they didn't want to do that for some reason. Like it kind of started like that, and they were like, oh, we can't really keep doing that. They can't have sex every episode. They can't have sex every time something happens. But they totally could.
They can.
Why have they not had sex enough in this?
I think that it was really balanced in the first episode. Like once they got married, it was really balanced. I didn't feel like it was, oh my gosh, another sex scene. I felt like it was pretty balanced, and then it just, the balance went all the way to boring times.
Yeah.
This season.
I even think that in the first season there was also intimacy between the characters. We don't need to see penetration every episode. Yeah. We need to just see that they're together, they love each other. There's a reason we're watching this damn story. You know, show us something, show us some sort of moments together, and you know, you don't have to be sex, but please give us something.
And we talked about that. We talked about that in the first episode back in Scotland. Remember, Beth, about that, how it was really felt like Outlander, and there was like a lot of intimate moments with just Jamie and Claire, but they weren't having sex. But it was still like you felt like their relationship was progressing, and they had, you know, intimacy and stuff. So it's, even if they could have written more scenes like that,
right, or just with lightness and humor, you know? I mean, it goes back to that whole La Dame Blanche thing. I hate to say in the book, but in the book, you know, that's a funny moment. It's a really funny moment. Claire tries not to laugh at Jamie telling her the story. Whereas in the show, and this choice has been made a lot, it's an angry moment, you know? And so many moments like that have been kind of, oh, you know, you could have just lightened it up a little bit, and that's all we're asking for.
Yeah,
right. That's all we're asking for.
Not to see Claire miserable in every episode, because she
angry
has been for a while. You're right. There's no humor at all.
You know who there was intimacy between? Prince Charles and Jamie when he stroked his face. That was very. I felt the heat. I felt it. I was like, just kiss him, Charlie. Kiss him.
Don't forget Leary and Jamie's laundry. Because there was intimacy there, too.
She smelled it. It was good.
I have two things to say about the sex, and then we can move on to something else if we need to. But one of the things is, I remember Sam and Katrina saying that they had to fight for the pregnancy sex. Isn't that the only sex we've had this whole season?
Yeah.
And they had to fight for that scene.
Wow.
That means that the writers and the showrunners would have preferred none.
So they just want to talk politics and, you know, guys, WWF wrestling instead of the stuff we want to see.
Right. And the other thing is, apparently Katrina said in an interview, Claudia just tweeted at us that she said they're not newlyweds anymore, so that's why. That's not Outlander. Jamie and Claire are not bound by the strictures of a regular marriage, you know, your 7-year itch and all of that stuff.
But they're always married for like 2 years.
He always wants her. That is the whole point.
Yeah, yeah. They work things out physically. That's their relationship. I mean, you know, you can say like, oh, the book is the book and the TV show is the TV show. But I think if you change that aspect of those two characters, it's a different story.
Yeah.
Forget like book, TV show. It's a different story. They might as well just be named, you know, Joe Schmo and Nancy. I don't know, whatever. You know, I mean, it's an important part of their beings and their relationship, and that's how they get back to where they need to be.
Yeah. Well, people aren't reading the book because they love Scottish history and they love, France and medicinal herbs. They're reading it because they love Jamie and Claire. It's the same thing with every other book or story that has a central couple that you cling to and love. The reason it got picked up as a TV show is because it's a good story and people love Jamie and Claire. Stop taking it away.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's definitely a character-driven story, and they're more giving us like the setting of a historical novel.
Yeah.
In the TV show.
Again, the reason that Jamie is, in our top 3 male characters of all time is because he doesn't lose his torch for his wife. He doesn't go trailing after other women despite, time and distance and stuff like that. That's the entire point. If they're not fucking, then they're not Jamie and Claire. And you can say that they're doing it like offset, and like that one love scene where he picks her up and her butt's like perfectly silhouetted, and then he like lays her down, and then his chest is perfectly silhouetted, and you're like, yes. And you know that they ended up making love, and that's wonderful. That's fine. I can do with those types of scenes. But I also think that if he's going to pray over her sweetly and then get into bed naked with her, then they need to have spoon sex. That's what needs to happen next.
Okay. I think we got to talk about what Twitter wants us to talk about. Everyone has been tweeting that they want to know how we think the finale is going to go. What's going to happen? What do we want to see versus what we think will happen? Jump in.
I don't think we're going to see as much Brianna and Roger and old-timey Claire as we think we're going to. I think people are assuming we're going to see half and half. I think we're only going to get a couple minutes of them.
I think we're going to get a lot of them. I think it's going to be mostly them.
Oh, I hope so. I really hope so.
You think it's going to be mostly You want it to be mostly Roger and Bree?
That's not what I said. I want it to be an hour of them banging in the cabin. It's gonna be.
Solid hour.
A cabin sex scene happen in real time. But
do you think they'll open with Jamie and Claire, or do you think they'll open it in modern times?
Roger and Bree.
I think modern.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of Roger and Bree. Think about the first episode and the fact that it was 30 minutes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
They're going to take their sweet-ass time with Roger and Bree. And we're not getting Culloden. They're not going to show Culloden.
no.
Do you think Claire's just going to tell them about Culloden and then maybe have some flashbacks?
Maybe.
I mean, we don't get a lot in the book either.
Oh, that's true. We don't get it until we get kind of the end of it in the third book, I think.
Right, in the third book.
Yeah.
I don't need to see the battlefield, actually. I mean, I want the cabin. I want the cabin, and I'm setting my expectations low because I think we'll get some. We've been promised tissues or tissue-inducing. I don't know.
They got to work hard to make me cry. That's all I got to say.
Mm-hmm.
After last week when I was like, oh, we're going to get this amazing battle scene and there's going to be music like that Preston Pans episode and I'm going to cry, and then Andy tweeted us and totally shattered my life view and what I thought was going to happen. I'm pre-angry about this episode.
Wait, we know for sure there's no Culloden then?
I don't think they have the budget for it, do they?
I thought I just read today that they are going to show the battle.
What'd you read it on?
Somebody posted, not necessarily an interview, but questions that were asked of Ron Moore. I'll dig it up and find it, but I thought it said that it was going to have the battle.
I'm trying to keep what I know and what we can say.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
I think that it's a mistake to have an entire, I said this last week, it's a mistake to have an entire season about a battle that we know happens, that we know that they lose, that they've mentioned in every single episode, and not show it.
Yep.
That's a mistake.
Agreed 100%. You can't build an entire 13 season or episodes or whatever and not give us something. Give us a flashback. Show us 3 or 4 little moments from something. thing. You just did an entire season about thwarting this, and then you're not going to show it. Ugh. I hope Roger and Bree are amazing because...
What could possibly be amazing about Roger and Bree right now? When Roger and Bree meet,
they're totally boring.
What's interesting about when you introduce to Roger and Bree is where it happens in the novels, and you're like, what the hell is this? That's what's interesting about them, number one. And the other interesting part about Roger and Bree is Claire, not Roger and Bree. The fact that Roger is trying to figure her out, and the fact that she's hiding a secret from Bree, and then she tells her. Those are the things that make Roger and Bree interesting. Their relation, Claire, and Claire's story, at least when we first meet them.
Yeah.
So how in the world could there be half an hour of Roger and Brianna when their relation to Claire, unless it is 100% revolving around Claire, which those pictures don't make it look like it is, there's no point.
Well,
no one cares about them.
Did you see Lotta tweeted, and then she deleted it?
That she was in the show?
That she was in it. Yeah, she sorry, spoiler, everyone. She totally tweeted, and then she was like, oops, and then deleted it.
Well, they mentioned her in this last episode, so I was like, oh, something's brewing. They're going to bring her back for sure.
Yeah, they had to.
She's good. I like her.
Yeah, she's great.
She's
great.
She's great.
I didn't mean that so bad. I meant that very positively. Lovely woman, sure.
I love her, but I was hoping that storyline would go away. But all right, whatever.
I'm fine with that, and you don't want to spoil it. I'm fine with that aspect of it. I just really don't feel like. I feel like it's a very weird beat in the story to go from how he ended this last episode to 30 minutes to 45 minutes of Roger and Brianna. That's so odd.
They build the story differently, I mean, I agree with you. I felt like when I first started reading this book and they spent so much time on them, I'm like, who are these new characters? I don't care about these new characters. I don't care about them for much longer, like until like the third, fourth, fifth book. That's when I start caring about them. But maybe they're just going to build their relationship differently than it's done in the book. Maybe it will go faster. Maybe, who knows?
It doesn't matter. Their only purpose, other than being introduced, is their relationship to Claire and how they're reacting to what's going on with her. That's it. So even if they have a budding romance, no, it doesn't matter. No one knows who they are. It doesn't matter. It just, I might be wrong. It might be great.
Well, let's just see. It might be so, yeah.
Do you think they're going to book in the whole season? So we start out in the 60s. We don't know what the fuck's going on. We go back, and then they're going to end in the 60s, and we're back out of this story, and we're not going to see Jamie the entire last 30-plus minutes like we didn't see him in the first episode.
Well,
I think it's going to happen like that.
Yeah, in the book, you don't know if Jamie's alive or not. Well, I guess you do, But maybe they'll try and make that be like, oh, Jamie died. Maybe, or maybe they'll show him, with how he is found, how you find him, how he says what happens at the end of the battle with somebody else there with him, So
we just had the best.
Try not to be spoiler.
Best tweet ever. Renee AH said, even the Twilight director, shout out Bill Condon, had to show the end battle, even though it was not in the last book. You have to show something of Culloden. Let's think about that for just a second. Breaking Dawn 2, everybody's like, what are they possibly going to do, build up to this battle? Nothing happens. They just stand in a field and talk. And then Bill Condon swooped in and gave us Carlisle's head in Arrow's hand, and everybody was like, what? And it was so great.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Oh, so great.
And it was a point where they took artistic license and made the story better than it was.
Yes.
And it can be better than it is, fans.
Absolutely.
It can be.
Absolutely. That's exactly what they need to be doing, surprising us with something that we are not ready for, but that is awesome. Not like Roger and Brianna going and looking at some cemetery stones. Yawnsville.
Are you listening, stars?
It's already filmed. I don't think they can change it now.
Wait,
do it. I mean, they'll just whip it out real quick.
that's why they gave us the extra week.
They heard our cries. They heard our cries. They're going back to where we filmed this thing, and they're going to refilm it,
Yeah.
cut it up real quick.
We'll take off our 4th of July.
They know they
Back to Scotland. Go, go, go.
Guys, the more I think about it, the more I think about the fact that they're not gonna like charge a lot in Battlefield and fight some redcoats.
Sucks.
I know. Don't you want to see like a united like Jamie and possibly Dougal and whoever else is there,
Yes.
like all in their like full Scottish warrior look? That was hot. That was so hot in that other episode.
I
Do
need
it
the
again.
bonnets and the kilts and the Highland charges and the overcomplicated hose that they're carrying. I need them to charge some redcoats.
I will say though, in that scene, you know, in the Preston pans, it really did look like they ran out of money for the budget because, like, there was like hardly any guys on that field with them, and it was like all foggy. So they were trying to like mask the fact that there was only like 9 people in their whole army. It's like I paused it and like counted, and there was like literally 12 people.
That's what I keep thinking every time they show them like lined up or they're talking about their men. I'm like, there's like 20 guys out there. Like, I'm sure some crazy fans would like put on some makeup and, you know, some robes and just be men in the scene, like for free.
Yeah, it is kind of sad. It's a sad. It makes you wonder, like how is the budget delineated? And were they just like, Terry, take all the gold and like
Seriously, that's
we
how
don't
it
need
is.
extras?
Oh man.
It's like all the PAs and they're just like working. They're like, here, you're farmer number 10. Get out there.
Can I go back for a second? Can I go back to say that I wanted to accept Myrta's marriage proposal? I was like, I'll marry you, Myrta. I don't care if you're gonna. All the feels.
That was such a sweet moment. Did that happen in the book? Because that was a really lovely moment of character.
And it was my the one thing that like didn't happen in the book. It was like my favorite thing that happened this whole episode. I loved it. Myrta.
It was awesome. Let's end on that positive note, guys. We love him. That was a really good moment in this episode. We'll be back in 2 weeks or 2 weeks and a day, because 2 weeks, whatever. We'll be back on the Monday after, and we're going to talk about this.
That's
the 11th.
The 11th, thank you. Thanks for having a calendar. And hopefully all of our dreams will come true and it'll be the best episode ever. In any case, thank you for watching, and thank you, my Outlander Purgatory. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, TN Writers, for joining us this week. And we will see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us. Bye, everyone.